I can't believe it. You look so much like someone I used to know. This is crazy. Before we begin, please note that this story addresses thoughtful themes of family, humanity, and personal responsibility. It is intended to encourage reflection and empathy. If you feel unprepared for these themes, you may wish to pause before continuing. Leonard Baker parked his black BMW in front of St. Francis Home, a modest orphanage in the Little Village neighborhood of Chicago. It was 9 in the morning on a chilly Tuesday in June 2024, and he was there just to fulfill a social obligation. His company, Baker Developments, needed to improve its public image after some criticism. The media regarding urban development and the generous donation to at-risk children would be the perfect photo op for the local news. Wearing an impeccable gray suit and carrying a check for $50,000, Leonard walked up to the entrance of the faded yellow building. The walls had damp patches, and the iron gate was rusty, but the front yard was well kept, with colorful flowers and a small community garden where some children were playing under the supervision of a nun. "Good morning, I'm Leonard Baker," he said to the receptionist, a middle-aged woman with thick-rimmed glasses. "I have a meeting scheduled with the director." "Ah, yes, Mr. Baker. Sister Teresa is waiting for you. Please, follow me." As they walked down the narrow hallways, Leonard observed the walls decorated with children's drawings and photos of smiling kids. The smell of disinfectant, mixed with home-cooked food, hung in the air. It was a completely different world from his office in the Loop, with its panoramic view of the city skyline and sleek, modern furniture. Sister Teresa, a petite woman in her 60s with kind eyes, welcomed him into her simple but organized office. "Mr. Baker, what a joy to welcome you here. Your donation will make a huge difference in these children's lives." "It's a pleasure to contribute to your work, sister," Leonard replied automatically, handing over the check. "I would like to see the facilities if possible." "Of course. Let's take a tour of the premises." They walked through the kitchen where volunteers were, preparing lunch, through the dormitories with simple but clean bunk beds, and through the classroom where a teacher was teaching math to a group of children of different ages. Leonard asked polite questions, more interested in finishing the visit quickly than genuinely curious. "And this is our recreation room," said Sister Teresa, opening a door painted light blue. Leonard walked in and stopped dead in his tracks. Sitting alone in a corner, drawing on paper with crayons, was a girl of about 7. Her light brown hair fell in waves to her shoulders, exactly like Julia's. The green eyes, the shape of her face, even the focused way she held the pencil, everything was identical to his ex-girlfriend. "Who is she?" he asked, his voice slightly shaken. "Ah, that is Isabella. She arrived here 2 years ago when she was 5. A very special child, but very reserved." Leonard felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Isabella. The same name Julia always said she would give the daughter she dreamed of having. The dates matched perfectly. Julia had disappeared from his life 8 years ago, pregnant, but he never knew the outcome of the pregnancy. "Can I talk to her?" "Of course, but she's quite shy with strangers." Leonard approached slowly and crouched down beside the table where Isabella was drawing. It was a simple drawing of a house with a woman and a girl holding hands. "Hi, Isabella. That's a beautiful drawing. You like to draw, don't you?" The girl glanced at him briefly and nodded, but she didn't say a word. "What's your doll's name?" he asked, pointing to a worn-out rag doll next to her. "Julia," she answered softly. "Like my mom." Leonard felt like he'd been punched in the gut. He hid his reaction as best as he could and kept talking. "Do you remember your mom?" Isabella stopped drawing and looked at him with those green eyes that were so familiar. "Just a little. She used to sing me to sleep and tell me stories about a prince who owned a really big company." Tears almost welled up in Leonard's eyes. Julia used to affectionately call him her businessman prince back when they were dating. Sister Teresa said, standing up. "May I have a word with you in private?" "Of course. Isabella, keep drawing. We'll be right back." Once in the director's office, Leonard got straight to the point. "I need to know everything about how Isabella ended up here." Sister Teresa opened a file folder. "Well, she was brought in by the police 2 years ago. Her mother had passed away in a car accident, and there were no known relatives. The documents only listed the mother's name, Julia Sanders, with no information about the father." "Julia Sanders," Leonard repeated in a whisper. "It was her. He was absolutely sure. Did you know her mother? Yes, we were in a relationship a few years ago. May I see Isabella's birth certificate? Sister Teresa hesitated for a moment, but something about Leonard's expression convinced her. She pulled another document from the folder. Here it is. Born March 15th, 2017. Father unknown. Leonard did the math in his head. The birth date confirmed his suspicions. Isabella was conceived exactly during the time he and Julia were together. Sister, I need to take a DNA test. I believe Isabella is my daughter. The nun looked at him with surprise, but also with hope. If that's true, it would be a blessing for her. Isabella always asks about her father. I always tell her he must be out there somewhere, just waiting for the right moment to find her. How can I proceed legally? We'll have to contact the family court. If the DNA test confirms paternity and you pass the necessary evaluations, you can file for custody. Leonard nodded with determination. I'll get everything started today, but please don't say anything to Isabella yet. I don't want to give her false hope. I understand perfectly. It'll be our secret for now. Before leaving, Leonard went back to the playroom. Isabella was still drawing. Now she had added a tall man next to the woman and the little girl. Can I see? He asked, crouching down again. It's my family, she said simply. Mommy, me, and my daddy, who I haven't found yet. Leonard felt a lump in his throat. That's a very beautiful family. I'm sure your daddy is going to think you're very beautiful too. Isabella smiled for the first time, and in that smile, Leonard saw not only Julia, but also features of his own. The shape of her eyes, and the dimple on her left cheek that he'd had since he was a kid. Can I come visit you again? You can, but why do you want to visit me? Leonard thought carefully about his answer. Because you remind me of someone very special I knew a long time ago. Back in the car, Leonard canceled all his appointments for the day, called his lawyer, Dr. Henry Nelson, and set up an urgent meeting. Then he called the most reputable lab in Chicago and booked a DNA test for the next day. That night, alone in his penthouse in the Gold Coast, Leonard couldn't sleep. He paced around the 2,000-square-foot apartment, looking at the artwork on the walls and the expensive furniture that suddenly seemed empty and meaningless. The thought that he had a 7-year-old daughter living in an orphanage while he wasted money on superficial things filled him with guilt and a sense of urgency. He grabbed his laptop and started researching the process of adoption through paternity recognition. He read about the requirements, the deadlines, and the necessary psychological and social evaluations. He was willing to go through all that and more if it meant bringing Isabella home. At 3 in the morning, still awake, Leonard opened a chest at the back of his closet. Inside were some keepsakes from his relationship with Julia. Photos, letters, small gifts. He picked up a photo of the two of them at a cozy restaurant in Aspen. Julia was smiling radiantly, her hand discreetly resting on her belly. She was pregnant in that photo, and he hadn't realized it at the time. Forgive me, Julia, he whispered, staring at the photograph. Forgive me for not being there when you needed me. But I promise I'm going to take care of our daughter now. The next morning, Leonard arrived at the lab at 7 a.m., an hour before it opened. Dr. Henry had already arranged all the necessary paperwork and personally oversaw the collection of Leonard's DNA sample. The results will be ready in 48 hours, the technician informed him. That's the fastest we can do. Do it in 24, Leonard said. I'll pay whatever it takes. Mr. Baker, Dr. Henry intervened. I understand your anxiety, but we also need to prepare the paperwork for the legal proceedings. I'll start drafting the petition for paternity recognition and the request for temporary custody. How long could the whole process take? If everything goes well and there are no objections, between 2 and 3 months. But first, we need the DNA results. That same afternoon, Leonard went back to the orphanage. This time, it wasn't an official visit. He simply wanted to spend some time with Isabella and get to know her better. What a surprise to see you again so soon, said Sister Teresa. Isabella was very happy yesterday after you left. She kept asking when the handsome gentleman would come back. Leonard smiled. Can I play with her for a bit? Of course. She's in the courtyard with the other children. In the inner courtyard, a small but sunny space, several children were playing different games. Isabella was alone in a corner, drawing again, sitting on a low stool. Hi, Isabella. Can I sit here with you? She looked up and her face lit up. Hi, you came back? I did. What are you drawing today? It's a castle where I'd live if I were a princess. Want to see? Leonard sat on the floor next to her and examined the drawing. It was surprisingly detailed for a 7-year-old, with towers, windows, and even flowers in the garden. It's beautiful. And what would it be like to live in this castle? I'd have a room all to myself, with a big bed and lots of books. And I could eat ice cream for breakfast if I wanted. And who else would live in the castle with you? My daddy, she answered, without hesitating. He'd be the king, and I'd be the princess. And we'd ride bikes and have picnics in the garden every weekend. Every word felt like an arrow piercing Leonard's heart. His daughter was dreaming of a father she didn't even know existed, while he had spent 7 years of her life completely oblivious to her existence. Isabella, would you like to have a real dad? Of course. All the kids have a dad, except me. Sister Teresa says my daddy is out there somewhere in the world. But sometimes, I think he forgot about me. I'm sure that if your dad knew you existed, he'd come running to get you. How are you so sure? Because any father would be proud to have a daughter as smart and beautiful as you. Isabella smiled, and to Leonard's surprise, she came closer and gave him a hug. It was an innocent, warm hug, and Leonard felt like his heart was about to explode with emotion and instant love. You're really nice. I wish you were my daddy. Leonard had to make a huge effort not to cry in front of her. Who knows? Maybe one day you'll have a daddy who loves you as much as you deserve. They spent the whole afternoon together. Leonard helped her finish the drawing of the castle. He played dolls with her, something he never imagined he'd do, and patiently listened to her stories about the other boys and girls at the orphanage. Let's play a little game for those following the comments. Type the word heart in the comment section. Only those who made it this far will understand. Let's continue with the story. When it was time to leave, Isabella got sad. Are you coming back tomorrow? I'll try, Leonard promised. And look, I have a surprise for you. He pulled a kid's tablet out of his backpack that he'd bought during lunch. It's for you to draw and play educational games. Isabella's eyes went wide. Really? Is it mine? All yours. But promise you'll share with the other kids when they want to play? I promise. Thank you, sir. Just call me Leonard. Thank you, Leonard. You're the nicest person I've ever met. That night, Leonard ate dinner alone in his apartment, but for the first time in years, he didn't feel lonely. He thought about Isabella, her smile, and how she had naturally snuggled up against him while they played. He felt connected to her in a way he couldn't explain, beyond the obvious physical resemblance to Julia. The next day, the phone rang at 10 in the morning. It was the lab. Mr. Baker, the results are ready. You can come pick them up. Or would you prefer we send them? I'll pick them up right now. Leonard canceled all his morning meetings and rushed to the lab. Dr. Henry met him there to be with him for the moment. The technician handed over a sealed envelope. With trembling hands, Leonard opened it and read the result. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. Leonard leaned against the wall. It was official. Isabella was his daughter. Congratulations, Leonard, said Dr. Henry, placing a hand on his shoulder. Now we can start the legal process. How long until I can take her home? With this result, we can file for emergency temporary custody. If the judge rules in our favor, maybe in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is still a long time, Leonard murmured. That afternoon, he went back to the orphanage with the DNA results in his hands. He asked for a private meeting with Sister Teresa. It's true, he said, handing over the document. Isabella is my daughter. The nun read the results with tears in her eyes. What a blessing. She always knew, somehow. She always said her father would come for her. Can I tell her? I think it's better to wait until the legal process is further along. We don't want to raise expectations that might be crushed if there's some bureaucratic problem. I understand, but can I keep visiting her every day? Of course. Actually, it would be good for her to bond with you before the move. From that day on, Leonard completely reorganized his routine. He would get to the office at 6 in the morning, handle the most urgent matters until noon, and spend his afternoons at the orphanage with Isabella. They played, they drew, and they did homework together. Leonard discovered that his daughter was extremely intelligent and creative. She could already read and write better than many 9-year-olds. She loved math and had a vivid imagination for inventing stories. "Why do you come to see me every day?" Isabella asked one Thursday afternoon. "Because I really enjoy your company. You make me happy." "I like you too. You're different from the other adults who visit here." "Different how?" "They talk to me like I'm a baby. You talk to me like I'm a grown-up." Leonard laughed. "That's because you're very smart for your age, and because I respect you." "What does respect mean?" "It's when you treat a person the way they deserve to be treated, with care, attention, and by considering what they think and feel." Isabella looked thoughtful. "My mom respected me. She always asked my opinion on things, even when I was tiny. She was a very special person." "Did you really know her?" Leonard chose his words carefully. "Yes, I did. She was the sweetest, most caring person I've ever met in my life. Why didn't you stay together?" "Sometimes adults make mistakes, Isabella. And by the time I made my mistake, it was already too late to fix it." "But do you miss her?" "I miss her a lot. Every single day." That night, Leonard called Dr. Henry. "How is the process going?" "Well, the social worker is going to visit your apartment next week to evaluate the living conditions. After that, if everything is in order, we can get a hearing with the judge. My apartment isn't suitable for a child. I need to move." "You can adapt your current apartment, sir. Moving isn't necessary." "No. I want a house with a backyard, her own room, a place where she can be truly happy." The next day, Leonard started looking for houses in the best neighborhoods of Chicago. He visited 15 properties in 3 days until he found the perfect house. A 3-story townhouse in Lincoln Park with a spacious backyard, a small pool, a home library, and a room that would be perfect for a little girl. He bought the house in cash and hired a decorator specializing in children's rooms. He explained that he wanted something magical, but not over the top, like a real-life version of the castle Isabella used to draw, with a touch of American fairy tale charm, including stars and stripes accents for fun. "You have 2 weeks to get everything ready," he told the decorator. "It's for my daughter. She's coming to live with me." In the meantime, he continued his daily visits to the orphanage. Isabella was becoming more and more attached to him, and Leonard felt his love for her growing every single day. "Leonard," she said one afternoon, "can I tell you a secret?" "Of course." "I pretend that you're my daddy when I'm alone in my room. I make believe that you live here with me, and that we have breakfast together every day." Leonard felt his eyes fill with tears. "And what is that like?" "It's really good. You help me brush my teeth, tell me stories, and give me a goodnight kiss. And when other kids ask about my daddy, I tell them he comes to visit me every day." "And what if that were true? What if I really was your daddy?" Isabella looked at him with shining eyes. "It would be the best day of my whole entire life." In that moment, Leonard made a decision. He couldn't hide the truth from her anymore. "Isabella, I need to tell you something very important." "What? You know about DNA tests? When doctors run tests to see if 2 people are related?" "I know." The teacher explained that in science class. "I took one of those tests to see if we are related." Isabella's heart started beating faster. And what did it say?" "It said that I am your daddy, Isabella, your real daddy." The girl remained silent for a moment that seemed to last forever. Then she started to cry, but not from sadness, from pure and absolute joy. "For real? You're my real daddy? For real? That's why you reminded me of someone special. Because you are my daughter, and I love you more than anything in the world." Isabella threw herself into Leonard's arms and cried even harder. "I knew it. I knew you were special. Why did it take so long to find me?" "Because I didn't know you existed, my daughter. But now that I know, I will never leave you alone again." They stayed hugging for long minutes, crying together, while 7 years of absence dissolved in that embrace. "Does this mean I'm going to live with you?" "If you want to. I'm getting a beautiful house ready for us both, with a special room just for you." "What's it like?" "It's like the castles in your cartoons. It has a princess bed, a desk for you to study and draw, and lots of shelves for books." "And will you sleep there too?" "I'll be in the room right next to yours, forever." That night, Leonard had the hardest conversation of his life with Sister Teresa. "I told her," he said. "I couldn't hide it anymore." "I understand." "And how did she react?" "With so much happiness. But now she wants to know when she can go home with me." The process is moving along well. The social worker is going to do the home visit next Tuesday. If everything is in order, we can have the hearing on Friday. And if the judge is favorable, Isabella can go home with you that very same day. Leonard barely slept that night. He thought about the room being decorated, the private school he had chosen for Isabella, and the nanny he had hired for the times he was working. His entire life was changing, and for the first time in years, he felt he was on the right path. On Tuesday, the social worker, Ms. Marina Smith, visited the new house. Leonard welcomed her, nervous but confident. "It is a beautiful house, Mr. Baker," she said, examining every room. "I see that you have prepared very well to receive Isabella." The girl's room was perfect. Walls painted a soft pink with gold details, a canopy bed, shelves full of children's books, and a study desk with all the imaginable school supplies and carefully chosen toys. "The only thing missing here is her drawings," Leonard said. "I want her to decorate it however she likes. You do understand that having a 7-year-old daughter is going to completely change your routine, right?" "I understand, and I'm ready. In fact, I'm looking forward to it." "Have you hired anyone to help out?" "Yes, a nanny with excellent references for when I'm at work. But I've cut back my hours so I can spend more time with Isabella." Ms. Marina took notes on everything and seemed happy with what she saw. "I'm going to write up a positive report," she said. "You've clearly taken the preparation for this responsibility very seriously." On Thursday night, the eve of the hearing, Leonard went to the orphanage for what might be his last official visit. "Daddy!" Isabella shouted, running toward him. That word still gave him goosebumps every time he heard it. "Hi, my princess. How was your day?" "Good, but I wish you'd been here since this morning." "Why can't you live here with me?" "Because after tomorrow, you might not have to live here anymore." "What do you mean?" "Tomorrow, we're going to talk to a judge. If he says yes, you're coming home with me tomorrow." Isabella's eyes went wide. "Really? Tomorrow?" "Maybe tomorrow. I can't promise 100%, but I'm very confident." "What if he says no? Then we'll wait a little longer and try again. But I promise you one thing. I will never give up. You're my daughter, and I love you. Nothing is ever going to change that." That night, Isabella could barely sleep. She was so anxious. Leonard spent the night awake too, reviewing all the paperwork and thinking about what he'd say if the judge asked any questions. On Friday morning, Leonard arrived at the Cook County Courthouse wearing his best suit and carrying a briefcase with all the documents. Dr. Henry was waiting for him at the entrance. "Relax, Leonard. We have everything in our favor. The positive DNA test, the excellent social report, your financial stability, and most importantly, the clear bond between you and Isabella." Sister Teresa arrived with Isabella, who was wearing her prettiest dress, a light blue one that Leonard had bought for her the week before. "Daddy!" She ran to hug him. "How are you feeling, princess?" "Nervous, but happy. Do you think the judge is going to like me?" "It's impossible not to like you. You're perfect." The hearing was held in a small, cozy room designed specifically for cases involving children. The judge, Judge Robert Silver, was a man of about 50 with a kind face. "Isabella," he said, turning to the girl, "do you know why we're here today?" "Yes, Your Honor. To decide if I can go live with my daddy." "And do you want to go live with Mr. Leonard?" "I really do. He's the coolest daddy in the whole wide world. He plays with me, teaches me things, and he bought me a tablet to draw on." The judge smiled. "And how do you know he's your father?" "Because when I look at him, I feel like I'm home. And because his eyes look just like mine." "And because he liked my mom?" "Mr. Baker," the judge said, turning to Leonard, "do you understand the responsibility you're taking on?" "Perfectly, Your Honor. Isabella is my daughter, and I love her unconditionally. I'm prepared to dedicate my life to giving her the best future possible." "Why did it take years to find out you had a daughter?" "Because I didn't know she existed, Your Honor. If I had known, I would have been there from day one." The judge reviewed all the documents, asked a few questions about the school Leonard had chosen, about his plans to balance work and fatherhood, and how he intended to keep the memory of Isabella's mother alive. After analyzing the entire case, he finally said, "I consider that Mr. Leonard Baker has demonstrated not only biological paternity, but also a genuine commitment to the minor's well-being. I grant the request for permanent custody." Isabella squealed with joy and jumped into Leonard's lap. "We did it, Daddy! We did it!" Leonard wept openly, not caring who was watching. 7 years of involuntary absence ended right there. "Congratulations to you both," said Sister Teresa, also emotional. "Isabella, now you have what you've always wanted." An hour later, Leonard was at the orphanage, helping Isabella pack her bags. She didn't have many things. Some clothes, her doll Julia, a few drawings, and books. "Is that everything?" Leonard asked. "That's really it. But it doesn't matter, because now I have the most important thing." "What's the most important thing?" "You, Daddy. Now I have you." Back at the car, Leonard settled Isabella into the back seat with a child safety belt he'd had installed especially for her. During the whole drive to Lincoln Park, she wouldn't stop talking. "Daddy, can I call you Daddy forever?" "Always, my daughter, forever." "And will you pick me up from school every day?" "Every day that I can. And when I can't, Auntie Carla will pick you up." "Who's Auntie Carla?" "She's a really nice person who's going to help you when I'm working, but I've already changed my schedule to spend more time with you." When they arrived at the house, Isabella stood still on the sidewalk, gazing at the 3-story townhouse with its blooming garden. "Is this where we're going to live?" "It's our home, Isabella. Yours and mine." "Our home," she repeated, savoring the words. "I've never had a home of my own before." Leonard picked her up in his arms to cross the threshold. "Now you do, and you will forever." The tour of the house was magical. Isabella saw the spacious living room with a big TV, the kitchen with a granite countertop where she could help cook, and the backyard with a swing set and a miniature playhouse. "And now," said Leonard, stopping in front of a door decorated with golden stars, "let's see your room." When he opened the door, Isabella was speechless. The room was exactly like in her castle drawings. A bed with a pink and gold canopy, shelves full of books, a study desk with every supply imaginable, a reading nook with fluffy pillows and toys organized on pretty shelves. Is it all mine?" "All yours, for you to decorate how you want, mess up how you want, and be happy how you want." Isabella ran to the bed and threw herself onto it. "It's the softest bed in the world. And look, there's a nightstand, just like in the castle movies." Leonard sat on the edge of the bed. "Do you like it?" "I like it so much I can't even speak right. It's better than all my dreams put together." That first night, Leonard made a simple dinner, macaroni and cheese with a side of fresh veggies. Isabella insisted on helping, climbing onto a stool to reach the sink. "Daddy, can I ask a question?" "You can always ask questions. Why didn't Mommy ever tell me about you?" Leonard stopped stirring the pasta. It was a question he asked himself every day. "I think she was scared, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups get scared that things won't work out, and they end up making decisions they regret later." "But weren't you mad at her?" "No, I wasn't mad. I was sad that I didn't get to meet you sooner, but I wasn't angry with her. Your mom loved you very much, and she did what she thought was best at the time. Did you love my mom, too?" "I loved her very much. And I love you, too, more than anything in the world." After dinner, Leonard helped Isabella take a bath in the tub with bubbles and rubber ducks. She laughed so hard that water splashed out, soaking the bathroom floor. "Daddy, do you know how to brush a girl's hair?" "I don't know very well, but I can learn. My mommy always braided my hair before I went to sleep." "Do you know how to braid?" "I don't know either, but we can try together." The result was a crooked braid with lots of knots. But Isabella loved it anyway. "It looks different, but it looks pretty in your own way, Daddy." At bedtime, Leonard read 3 stories to her. Isabella chose The Princess and the Pea, Rapunzel, and Cinderella. "Why do you like princess stories so much?" "Because princesses always find their happy ending. And now, I found mine too." "What do you mean?" "You are my happy ending, Daddy. You're my prince who came to save me." Leonard felt his eyes well up again. "You're the one who saved me, Isabella. I was very lonely before I found you, but now neither of us is alone anymore, right?" Never again. After tucking her into her new bed, Leonard sat beside her until he was sure she had fallen asleep. He watched her peaceful little face, so much like Julia's, and made a silent promise. Julia, wherever you are, I promise I will take care of our daughter the way she deserves. I will give her all the love you would have wanted to give, and I will keep your memory alive in her heart. In the following days, Leonard and Isabella began to build their father-daughter routine. They woke up at 7 in the morning and had breakfast together. Pancakes were Leonard's specialty, and Isabella loved helping flip them in the pan. Careful, Daddy. That one's gonna burn. You're right, Chef Isabella. What would I do without you? You'd eat burnt pancakes every day, she laughed. Afterward, Leonard took her to her new school, St. Martha School, a small and welcoming institution in the neighborhood. The principal, Mrs. Helen, had been very understanding of Isabella's special situation. We will give all the support necessary for her to adapt well, she had promised. Big changes can be difficult for children, but I can see she is very happy, and Isabella really was happy. She made friends quickly with her classmates, especially Sophia, a girl her age who also loved to draw. Daddy, can I invite Sophia over to play? Of course you can. Our house is your house, and your friends are always welcome. Afternoons were Leonard's favorite time. He arrived from the office at 3 o'clock, having delegated most responsibilities to his partners, and found Isabella eager to tell him about her day. Today I learned about dinosaurs. Did you know there was a dinosaur with a neck 20 feet long? 20 feet is taller than our house. And I also learned how to do division. Want me to teach you? Leonard loved how excited she was about her studies. Isabella was genuinely curious about everything, asked smart questions, and soaked up knowledge like a sponge. Fridays became their tradition, time for their father-daughter adventures. They went to the movies, Millennium Park, the zoo, and the Art Institute. Isabella wanted to learn everything about Chicago. Daddy, is this our city? It sure is, sweetheart, and there's so much more cool stuff for us to discover. When I grow up, I want to see the whole world with you. Then let's start planning our trips right now. A month after Isabella moved in with him, Leonard organized a surprise party to officially celebrate her homecoming. He invited the kids from her new school, some staff from the orphanage who had been special to her, and he even hired a magician for extra fun. But it's not my birthday, Daddy. It's our family's birthday, honey. The day we officially became father and daughter. The party was a huge success. Isabella laughed so hard at the magician that she had to hold on to Leonard to keep from falling over. She got lots of presents from her new little friends, but the gift she loved the most was a photo album Leonard had put together. These are photos of your mom when she was young, he explained, so you can see what she was like before you were born. Isabella spent a long time flipping through the album, gently touching every photograph. She was so beautiful, and it looks like she was always smiling. She really was. She was always smiling when she was with me, just like you make me smile every single day. Can I keep this album in my room? Of course, it's yours. And whenever you want to talk about your mom, I'll tell you everything I remember about her. That night, after all these guests had gone home, father and daughter sat in the backyard, gazing up at the stars. Daddy, can I ask you a serious question? You can ask me anything. Do you regret finding me? Your life has changed so much because of me. Leonard was surprised by how mature the question was. He pulled Isabella onto his lap and looked her right in the eyes. Isabella, you are the best thing that has ever happened to me in my entire life. Before I found you, I had money, a big company, and a nice apartment. But I didn't have a family. I didn't have real love. You taught me what it means to be truly happy. What do you mean? Being happy is waking up every day knowing that someone needs me and that I have someone to love. It's making pancakes for breakfast. It's listening to you talk about school. It's kissing you goodnight. It's knowing that you're safe and happy. I learned what being happy means too, Daddy. It's having a dad who really loves me. 6 months later, Leonard was at the school office for a parent-teacher conference. Mrs. Helen had a huge smile on her face. Mr. Baker, Isabella is one of the best students I've ever had. She's smart, creative, sociable, and so sweet with her classmates. How is she adjusting emotionally? Perfectly. She's a well-balanced, happy child. She talks about you all the time, always with so much pride. She's making friends, lots of them. Just look at this. The teacher showed him a drawing Isabella had made in art class. It was a drawing of their family. A tall man and a little girl holding hands in front of a big house. In the sky, there was a woman with wings, smiling down at them. When I asked her about the drawing, she said, "It's my daddy, me, and my mommy who turned into an angel to protect us from up in heaven." Leonard felt a lump in his throat. She is handling her mother's absence well, very well. She understands that her mom can't come back, but she doesn't show sadness. On the contrary, she always says her mom is happy in heaven because she knows she is being well taken care of. That night at dinner, Leonard mentioned the conversation with the teacher. "She showed me your family drawing. It turned out really beautiful. Did you really like it?" "I wanted to draw Mommy too, because even though she's not here, she's still part of our family." "Of course she is. She always will be." "Daddy, can I tell you another secret?" "You always can. Sometimes I talk to Mommy before I go to sleep. I tell her how my day was, and I thank her for making me and for making you find me." And what do you think she answers? I think she gets happy and says she loves me and that she likes you a lot too. That weekend, Leonard got a surprise. Isabella had prepared a special project and wanted to present it to him. "Sit here, Daddy, and close your eyes." When he opened his eyes, Isabella was standing in front of him, holding several sheets of paper. "I made a book about our story. Want to see?" The book was 10 stapled sheets with drawings and sentences written in Isabella's neat handwriting. The cover said, "The Story of Daddy and Isabella" by Isabella Baker. Leonard opened to the first page. Once upon a time, there was a very sad daddy because he didn't know he had a daughter. On the second page, and a very lonely little girl who wished very much to find her daddy. Leonard continued turning the pages, moved by each one. Isabella had drawn their whole story. The orphanage, the first meeting, the medical exams, the court hearing, the arrival home. The last page said, "And they lived happily ever after, because love is the strongest thing in the world." What did you think, Daddy? Leonard was weeping openly. "It's the most beautiful book I've ever read in my entire life." "Really?" "Really. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get this book printed for real, with a hardcover and everything, so we can keep it forever." "That's so cool. Can I write another book?" "You can write as many books as you want. You are a very talented writer and artist." 2 years later, Leonard was at Isabella's 3rd grade graduation. She had been chosen as the class speaker for having the best grades. "Dear classmates, parents, and teachers," said Isabella into the microphone, "I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I learned many important things at school: reading, writing, math, science, but the most important thing I learned wasn't at school." Leonard listened to her from the middle of the audience, his heart overflowing with pride. "I learned that family isn't just who is born with you. Family is who chooses to love you every single day. I learned that it's never too late to find the people you love. And I learned that love can happen even in the places you least expect." The entire audience applauded, deeply moved. "I want to thank my daddy who found me when I needed it most, and who taught me that I am special and loved." "Thank you, Daddy. I love you." Leonard stood up and clapped, not caring about the tears streaming down his face. After the ceremony, father and daughter went to celebrate at a special ice cream shop. "How does it feel to have finished 3rd grade? Happy, but also wanting to learn more. I've already decided what I want to be when I grow up." "What do you want to be?" "I want to be a social worker, just like Dr. Marina who helped us, so I can help other kids find their families." "That's a beautiful choice, sweetheart. And I also want to have kids, so I can pass on everything you taught me about love." "What things did I teach you?" "That love is patience when someone is learning something new. Love is being there even when it's hard. Love is making pancakes on Saturday morning. Love is reading stories before bed. Love is never giving up on the people you love." That night, Leonard was in his home office catching up on some company paperwork when Isabella appeared at the door in her pajamas. "Daddy, can I sleep with you tonight?" "Of course. Did something happen?" "No, I just want to be close to you." She snuggled up next to him in the big bed. Leonard put down the papers and focused entirely on her. Dad, do you think my mom would be proud of me? I am absolutely sure she would. You have become a smart, kind, brave girl. Any mother would be proud, and she would be happy that you found me. I think she planned everything for this to happen. I think from somewhere she guided you to me. What do you mean? Think about it. Of all the places I could have chosen to donate money, I chose the exact orphanage where you were. Of all the rooms I could have visited first, I went right into the room where you were drawing. And you were drawing exactly a family. A daddy, a mommy, and a daughter. Isabella looked thoughtful. It's true. It really seems like destiny, or your mom watching over both of us from up there. Thank you, Mommy, Isabella whispered, looking at the ceiling. Thank you for giving me the best dad in the world. On the 5th anniversary of the day they met, Leonard woke Isabella up with breakfast in bed, heart-shaped pancakes and orange juice. What are we celebrating today, Dad? The most important day of our lives. The day we found each other. 5 years already. It feels like yesterday, and it feels like a long time ago at the same time. What do you mean? It feels like yesterday because I remember every detail, but it feels like a long time because I can't imagine my life without you anymore. Leonard sat on the edge of the bed. Isabella, in these 5 years, you've taught me so much about what really matters in life. What did I teach you? You taught me that success isn't having a lot of money. It's having someone to love. You taught me that happiness is in the simple moments, like making pancakes on Saturday morning. You taught me that it's never too late to start over when you find your purpose. What is your purpose, Dad? You, my daughter. It was always you. That afternoon, they visited the St. Francis home. The orphanage had undergone renovations with part of the donations from Leonard, and now it had more colorful rooms, a new playground, and a well-equipped library. Sister Teresa, Isabella shouted, running to hug the nun. My dear Isabella, look how you've grown. You're such a beautiful young lady. I came to show the kids that dreams do come true, said Isabella. I came to tell them that I found my family, and that they will find theirs too. Isabella spent the whole afternoon playing with the smaller children, telling stories and helping with drawings. Leonard watched her from afar, admiring the generosity and maturity of his daughter. She is special, Sister Teresa said, approaching him. She always has been, but now she shines in a different way. It's love, sister. Love changes everything. And you, how is this journey of fatherhood treating you? It is the best journey of my life. Every day I learn something new from her. Every day I become a better person because of her. On the way back home, Isabella was quiet, thoughtful. What are you thinking about? About those little kids who are still waiting for their families. I wish they could all be as happy as I am. How about we start a project to help with that? What do you mean? We can create a foundation to help orphanages and make adoptions easier. You can be my junior partner. Isabella's eyes lit up. Really? Can I help other kids find their mommies and daddies? We can help them together. You with your ideas and me with the resources. What should we call our foundation? How about the Isabella Foundation? In honor of the girl who taught me the true meaning of family. I would love that. But it could have another name too. Heart Encounters Foundation. Because that is what happened to us. Our hearts found each other. That night, father and daughter stayed on the balcony, planning the foundation they would build together. Isabella, now 12 years old, already showed impressive maturity and vision for her age. Daddy, can I ask you a question I've always wanted to ask? Always. Do you feel like your life is complete now? Leonard looked at his daughter, physically so similar to Julia, but with a unique and wonderful personality. More than complete, my daughter. My life is overflowing with love and purpose, and it is all because of you. Mine is complete too, and do you know why? Why? Because I found not just a father, but a best friend, a teacher, a protector, and a partner for life. Partners for life, Leonard agreed, hugging her tight. They stood there hugging, looking up at the stars and the Chicago sky, knowing that some stories have no end. They just keep growing day after day, hug after hug. Leonard and Isabella's story was one of those stories that last forever, because true. Love knows no time, knows no distance, and always finds a one. A way to unite hearts that were meant to be together. And somewhere in the stars, Julia was smiling, knowing her daughter had found the home she always deserved. The end. This beautiful story teaches us that true love always finds a way to bring together those who belong to each other. Sometimes the best things in life arrive when we least expect them, and a simple charity visit can turn into the most important meeting of our lives. Leonard discovered that true wealth isn't in bank accounts, but in the hugs of a daughter who finally found her father. And Isabella learned that dreams come true when we keep our hearts open and never lose hope. If this story touched your heart as much as it touched ours, don't forget to like the video and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us a lot too. Keep creating content that inspires and moves you. If you want more stories like this, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new tales of love and family. And tell us in the comments, do you believe destiny exists? What city are you watching us from? We love knowing we have friends from all over the United States following our stories. A warm hug, and until the next adventure of the heart.